Everybody, we are back. It is your favorite Raiders podcast, film breakdowns, whatever you like. We got it for you. It is Tape Don't Lie. It is Marcus Johnson, BD Williams. We're back once again, guys, giving you a brand new episode. This week, we're going to be covering some draft sleepers and looking at some safety. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for us. Then go ahead and hit the like button. Right, hit the like button if you like it. If you don't like it, hit the dislike button. We like all interactions. Go ahead, leave us some comments. I took the victory for the mock draft, so I did want to call that out.
We didn't mention that. Yeah,
we did. Yes. We didn't mention that. I did win 55%, so to 45 on Twitter on the Twitter poll. So I do want to mention that I did win the mock draft last week. So I appreciate that, TDL.
I would say you technically cheated. I would say. I'll get into it later. But Richie Grant is not going to be there in round 3. We'll see. All
right. But yeah, so make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, like I said, and then go ahead and follow us on Twitter. I mentioned Twitter. Go ahead and follow us there at the Mark John NFL for me, and then at BD Williams 18. For BD, and make sure you check out all BD's news articles he's writing over at Just Blog Baby. So check those out. And how's it going, BD? Good, man?
Yeah, man, we're good. We're in the thick of draft season. Raiders aren't signing any new free agents. I know I should have cleared this with you because I did promise the people a Willie Snead breakdown on your end. So can you explain why maybe that's on the back burner real quick? Just so that people understand the thought process.
There wasn't much for me like to break down. Like one, he did the same route like over and over. I would have to go back to like 2016 or something to kind of get some action because he basically ran the same route over and over again from the slot, and he didn't have a lot of separation either. Like that's another guy. Like, is he gonna make the team? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that he's gonna make this team. Because I don't see the separation ability anymore or at all. So I didn't want to waste everybody's time. It would have been me just knocking him the whole time, right? Mostly. And I didn't want to go through all that. So, I did something else. I looked at some draft sleepers. I gave it some positive content here, guys. Yeah. Positive content. It's April. We're getting closer to the draft. So it's going to be, once we get deeper, I mean, the Raiders, they don't got a 7th round pick anymore, but they got all the way to the 6th round. So there's going to be definitely some sleepers, some guys that are going to fall. And I got some favorites. I know maybe a couple of these guys won't fall to the 4th or 5th round, but maybe you never know. You never know what's going on with some of these guys. So it could happen, especially be covering a guard too. And, a guard, you never know with guards. They could, unless you're like all pro, like super.
Never know.
Superstar. They guards fall because NFL teams don't value guards very high. I mean, you have to be a really, really good guard just to go first round, to be honest. You got to be like top-notch guard to go first round.
Like an all-timer, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like seriously. You got to be Quentin Nelson, basically.
You have to be from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
To be an interior offensive lineman going in the first round. Like, come on.
Yeah. Or is that Zach Martin's or you play tackle and they're just moving you to guard.
Right.
You don't see a lot of guards go first round or centers or anything like that. So I'll be covering the guy. And I got a special guy that I don't know. I haven't seen anybody talk about that.
Okay.
I'm pretty happy that I found. And he's got some good stuff. So
okay.
Should we just get into it?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
So let's get into it, dog. Let's get into it. All right. So let's get this started with my edge sleeper here, okay? So we got Malcolm Koonce from Buffalo, number 50, okay? This dude 6'2", 249. He fits the Leo profile, right? He has 80-inch arms, right? And he's got some bend. He didn't run any drills his pro day, but this dude's got some bend. You see here, look at him hit him with the cross chop right here. So he's got some pass rush plan burst. Look at him bend around the corner right to the quarterback right there, right? So he's got some juice and some bend ability. Watch it one more time. Look at that bend, finish, right? So this guy had 5 sacks, 5 games this year, right? They didn't play many games. for Buffalo, but he had sacks all day. He was just beating up this Bowling Green team. So here's another sack. You see the bend again. There's a little hop step here. I haven't seen this move. Then I saw somebody else do it. I'm like, this must be a new move coming on the coming up, because he's up in the air right there. Look at him. He's up in the air, right? Fakes him out and rips under, bends, gets to the quarterback, sack, right? So Malcolm Koonce, I'm telling you, if this guy is there in the 4th round or maybe the 5th round, because there's not a lot of buzz around Malcolm right now, he could be a steal for the Raiders, and they could find something that he could lead into when maybe Yannick's not there anymore. He could be somebody that could step up and develop and be a really, really good player. And you see him against a run too, good hands inside, lift the guy up, shed, make a tackle in the backfield, right? So, I mean, against the run is really his weakness, but you see here that, I mean, he still has some ability to set the edge. He's one of those guys that like to shoot gaps. It's kind of just, he loves sacks. Some of these defensive ends love sacks, but he has the ability to set the edge and he has the strength. So Malcolm Koonce, really good player that I think if he's there day 3, the Raiders have to pounce and take advantage of that. Another guy that I see that the Raiders could be there day 3 is Aaron Banks, right? Aaron Banks had a really, really good pro day. He came in the 80th percentile on the 3-cone, right? And he's just a stud in the pass pro, right? So you see here, great anchor ability. Watch him one more time. He definitely has his hands a little bit outside, but he still has the strength. You see his hands outside a little bit, but he still has the strength to anchor, good feet, good base, right? To build that house and anchor right there, right? And then here's a little run play. Look at the low pad level he gets, low into 36, right? 36 has no shot here, right? I'm just telling you guys right now, he's about to get buried. Perfect technique right there from Aaron Banks. So, he's fit the zone game, right? He's got the zone ability with his 3-cone. He's got some blocking ability. He's got some pass blocking ability. So I really like Aaron Banks as a guard who could come in and he could probably play and compete for a starting job right away, right? And I know that there's guys like, John Simpson, Denzel Good there, and, Richie Incognito, but it's somebody like this that could come in and compete for a starting job and, make John Simpson, those guys work. You want them to beat out Aaron Banks, but you see him just picking up the stunt with Liam Eckerberg. Just beautiful, right? So this guy is somebody that could come in and compete and just add depth. You see him with the reach blocks. So then you see that the 3-cone ability right there, the athleticism that he has. So he is somebody that, like I said, he's somebody that could come in and help the offensive line right away and can play, the guard position and add some depth, right? And then the last guy I want to cover is offensive tackle James Hudson from Cincinnati. This guy's a transfer from Michigan. This dude's just a dog in the run game. That's all I could describe it. He's just a dog. He just likes embarrassing people, and he loves to embarrass people and let them know about it. So you see here, right? We'll watch this one more time on the reach block. So this I'm saying he's got some outside zone in him too. His pro day wasn't very good. It was kind of disappointing in my opinion. I thought he was going to be a lot better in his pro day than from his tape, his athleticism. But you just see it. He's just a dog. Just reach block, knock him on the ground, let him know about it. You know what I'm saying? A little flex on him. And then we can see it one more time. He's another one. This is just a down block, right? Just look at him just shove this dude into the ground 5 yards downfield. The rest of the team didn't even block well. There's James Hudson just, flexing on dudes, right? Flexing on him again. Good hands right there. Knocking him over, right? Burying him to the ground and then flex on the boy, right? Just let 97 know who runs it, right? And then here's just burying this other dude into the ground. He just dominated everybody. And like I said, he's a transfer from Michigan.
Oh my gosh.
So him moving to Cincinnati, right? This is how you want him to perform.
Right.
So you see him get the good pad level here. He has good hands inside. Boom, knock him over, run him over. So yeah, so that's the guy that I think they can get like day 3 and early day 3 and could develop. But you see here, like this is ends up being a clean pass set. But I'll show you guys what happened. So he got beat up against Georgia. I don't have the all 22, but I didn't want us to get flagged, so I couldn't show the broadcast. But he got pretty beat up against Georgia, and I'll show you why. Because you see he's leaning. Look at that lean, right? And yeah, he's beating up 23 from South Florida. When you get Aziz Ojori, he's just gonna cross chop you or just knock you over or just do a swim move. I mean, even number 10, I can't remember his name from Georgia, but he was at the Senior Bowl and he was doing James up too. So you see that he has a lot of rawness to him. Okay, so he has raw run blocking ability where he is strong he's just a strong dude, right? He's just running people over. He's got a nasty attitude. So against Georgia, he struggled. Okay, so play against a better competition, he did struggle, and but that's why I feel like he's gonna fall a little bit He did all right at the Senior Bowl. Like he didn't have like a huge Senior Bowl, but he didn't have one where you're like, like who's like he shouldn't be around. So he showed that he's definitely a NFL draft pick. I just don't think he's going to go day 2 or anything like that. I think he's going to be a day 3 tackle. And it's somebody the Raiders could look into, make the switch to right tackle and, come from an outside zone scheme. He ran it pretty well over there in Cincinnati, and he's got some raw ability. He's got a lot of length, a lot of power. I think it's somebody that could work on. So those are my sleepers, guys. My favorite is Malcolm Koonce. Raiders do not pass on Malcolm Koonce, please.
So was Malcolm Koonce the guy that you were saying you're glad that you found him?
Yeah.
Because I've seen some clips of Malcolm Koonce. And I was impressed. So, but yeah, I agree. There's no buzz around this guy. People aren't really talking about
him at all. It's like that bend, bro. The bend that he has, you just can't teach that. So like the bend that he has against the quarterback, and he does that against everybody. So it's not just like a competition thing. When they played up for competition, he did well. Right. So it's not a thing like where he can get a chance to go to the Senior Bowl. I'm sure if he went to the Senior Bowl, because he's hurt, he's got a little injuries that he's dealing with. That's why he didn't do anything at his pro day except get measured. But his measurements were pretty good, man. That 80-inch wingspan and all that stuff. So he's an intriguing raw prospect, and I think he's not as raw as it comes across. I think he's a little more developed as a pass rusher, that he could come in and be a draft steal. I think like he's one of my steal guys, And I'm not gonna lie to you, I almost did a Kellen Mond breakdown because I'm just tired of BD breaking down his safeties and getting away with it. And I don't get any quarterback breakdowns at all. I almost did it, but I'm like, okay, they're not gonna draft Kellen Mond. But I was just gonna do it just to do it. But yeah,
you should save that for another show. Okay, indulge yourself. All right. Okay, well that's pretty cool. That was very cool. Thank you very much for that. The one thing I'll say about Aaron Banks from Notre Dame is like a factory for offensive linemen and putting them in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a Notre Dame offensive lineman, these guys are going to be coming to the NFL well coached up. So yeah, like Aaron Banks right there, like he would. Just from the little clips that you showed me and knowing that he's coming from Notre Dame, like, yeah, I agree. Like he would push for probably a starting spot, just off the strength that, dude's from Notre Dame. So like, come on.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty fun. And then, the last guy, he looks like a dog. He looks like a real dickhead out there.
Yeah.
Gotta love that.
Yeah. Shout out my dude Angel, because he's the one told me to look at. I knew about James Hudson, but he hit me up, talked to me about looking at him. So good find for Angel. I guess he's not really a find. I mean, I guess he's top 10 on Mel Kiper's, but and he went to the Senior Bowl. But whatever. But yeah, he shout out to him, telling me to go look him up. And but yeah, he's a dog, man. But he's raw though. He's raw as hell, dude. He's a transfer from Michigan. I didn't look up the background behind that. I don't know why he transferred. So who knows what's up with that. But yeah, he's a transfer from Michigan, but I'm saying he's raw, he's long, and he wasn't as like I said, it wasn't as athletic as I thought he was on tape. His pro day was a little bit disappointing. Which is interesting because he looks like he's a fluid mover on tape, and he looks like I literally thought he was gonna be like what Brady Christensen pro day was. I thought he was gonna hit the 4.9s, things like that. It just was not it wasn't the most impressive pro day that I thought, so it was interesting though. It was interesting. And we talk about that too, is like, if you have a bad pro day, like, are you like really like prepared? Like how prepared are you for those situations? You know what I mean? So
yeah. And I think there's two sides to that coin. Okay. Like first, I completely agree with you. If you go to your pro day and you don't you do bad, like if you just do like, okay, all right. Okay. Like, all right, whatever. We've seen plenty of guys have okay athletic profiles and come into the NFL and be amazing, and plenty of guys that have incredible athletic profiles who don't do anything in the NFL, right? So it's just, you know, you do okay at your pro day, all right, fine. You check that box off, right? But if you do really bad, it's like, were you focused on this like process at all? You know, like exactly. So it's definitely questionable, but I think you know, sometimes guys go in with injuries and they're told, hey, if you these teams, you know, this team, they're here, they know you have an injury. So they're not going to hold numbers against you. They want to see you compete. Right. Because it's possible, even with an injury, you go and you do solid at a pro day, you know? And so some guys take that gamble, and sometimes some guys have really bad pro days, but they're coming off of a serious injury, and sometimes they don't get knocked for it, you know? So it's because, you know, like you watch like Keenan Allen, he ran like a 4.7 or something like that, right? He was like, it was like a high 4.6, low 4.7. Does Keenan Allen play slow in the NFL? You know, like teams know.
I mean, he can't beat you deep, but
you know, he's still a baller. His 40 time isn't stopping him from being productive.
Exactly, because I bet his 3 cone was ridiculous.
Right, something like that. Yeah, and you never know. He could have had a hamstring, and he was like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna run through it anyways."
Well, because I mean, he's always been injury prone. I mean, that's why he fell to where he fell, because he's always been injury prone. He's injury prone in college, so that had a lot to do with that. So he might have been faster than he actually is.
Right?
Who knows?
Exactly. I think that's actually a good segue to what I'm going to talk about right now. So I'm interested because obviously the Raiders are going to draft a free safety to start. At this point, they haven't signed one. Okay. We've all made jokes on social media, you know, Raiders forums, shout out Raiders forums. I went into Raiders forums like a couple weeks ago, and they were like, that's not really BD Williams. Prove it. And I'm like, guys, relax. I'm just a guy that does a podcast in my basement. Okay, relax. But so shout out to Raiders forums, like Twitter. We all have made fun of the fact that the Raiders have not taken a free safety in free agency. Yeah, so it's obvious they're gonna draft one to start, right? So what I did was I went through all of the free safeties who were drafted into Gus Bradley defenses over the years since he started as the defensive coordinator for Seattle, all the way through to, you know, his stops as a head coach in Jacksonville, and then these last 4 years for the Chargers. I looked at all the free safeties that they've drafted. Okay, and so obviously some safeties are strong safeties. So I'm not like counting Derwin James and Cam Chancellor in this. Obviously, like some guys, are they nickels, are they corners? I looked at all the DBs, but I focused in on the free safeties. And so there's 5 free safeties that Gus Bradley has drafted, or Gus Bradley coached teams have drafted to fit his scheme. Okay. And I found some interesting things. So first of all, Gus Bradley has never drafted a free safety under 200 pounds. Okay, so when we're looking through these pro day numbers, okay, you know, maybe this is the year that they change that changes, okay, but going off of history, you know, it seems like they want a guy who's over 200 pounds. Usually they're drafting a guy, you know, like around 209, 207 to play free safety. So that's one thing. Second weird thing, this is like really weird. Gus Bradley coach defenses have only drafted free safeties who are either from a Power 5 team or are from FCS. He's never drafted a Group of 5 free safety, or you know, like, and he gets Mark Legree. This is like the year after Earl Thomas. Mark Legree is from Appalachian State. He never did anything in the NFL, but he drafted him. Okay. And then he also had no problem taking, and he actually drafted another, or the Seahawks drafted another Appalachian State player that same year. So they weren't shy about taking FCS players, right? That's when Appalachian State was FCS. They are now Group of 5. And then 2 years ago with the Chargers, this is last year maybe, they draft Nazir Adderley, who's an FCS player at Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like he's not afraid of taking an FCS safety. There's only like one FCS safety, okay? This year, it seems like, at least that I know about and people have been talking about. His name is Christian Uphoff from Illinois State. You know, Marcus and I, we have the good fortune of being shared on a massive drive of film, but it's only D1A film. There's no D1AA FCS film in there, to my knowledge. I cannot find any film of Christian Uphoff to confirm if he's actually a free safety or if he's a strong safety. But his athletic testing, Christian Uphoff, meets all the thresholds for Gus Bradley coach defenses taking a safety in the NFL draft over like since 2012. Okay, so Christian Uphoff, I would say that's a guy. Watch out for that name. He's 6'2". I think he's all right. Let me just look at it before I say something wrong. He is 6'2", 210. He runs 4.5s, 33-inch vert, 120-inch broad jump. Again, all those meet the criteria or meet the thresholds for a safety in Gus Bradley's scheme. So let's just start though in round one. Trayvon Moehrig, he meets all the criteria. His height, his weight, his athletic testing, everything meets the thresholds for safety that Gus Bradley has taken in the past, and he's also from a Power 5 conference. Richie Grant, it's a little interesting because when he went to the Senior Bowl, he was over 200 pounds, but he went to his pro day under 200 pounds. So Richie Grant, we'll see again what they think of that.
Yeah.
So that's
interesting.
So that's something that maybe they don't like about him, just judging off history. I would hope that it wouldn't disqualify Richie Grant. And then the other thing is Richie Grant plays for a Group of 5 conference, not a Power 5 school. He plays for a Group of 5 school. So, and Gus Bradley, again, has never selected a player from a Group of 5 school to play free safety. I don't know why that is. Maybe that changes this year. So those are two things that would go against history. Just judging off history, those are two things going against Richie Grant based on, you know, history of free safeties taken. But everything else, he meets the height and requirement. He meets the athletic testing requirements in most buckets, except for the short shuttle. But he's pretty clean across the board there. Now, a guy that I think is maybe so I would say Trayvon Moehrig round 1, Richie Grant round 2. If they wait till round 2, Richie Grant I think meets most, so I think that it shouldn't disqualify him. Now, there is a guy who meets every single one of these thresholds, and I think he would be available in round 3, and he's a free safety from Texas named Caden Stearns. I like Caden Stearns a lot. First, before we talk about what he's good at, let's just talk about his athletic testing. So he comes in at a hair under 6 feet tall, 202 pounds. He runs a 4.4 flat 40, 42-inch vert, 128-inch broad jump. So, and that's a fantastic number. A 4.16 short shuttle and a 6.96 3-cone. All those things either meet or well exceed the thresholds for a safety in Gus Bradley's scheme. And then when you watch him on film, he does actually play free safety. Okay. Whereas maybe some other prospects who meet the criteria, I know for a fact, because I've watched them, they don't actually play free safety. So it's more of a projection saying, okay, yeah, he has the athletic tools, but can he actually play free safety? We don't have to worry about that with Caden Stearns. He actually does play free safety. And what I really like about Caden Stearns is he's obviously, you see from his athletic testing, but you can see it on film. He has a lot of burst. He's a good mover. So he kind of hits that bucket. Like he can move well enough to cover the middle of the field in a cover 3 defense as being the single high post safety. And then he also consistently takes really good angles to the ball carrier. Gets the guy on the ground. I think that guys like Trayvon Moehrig and Richie Grant have more hitting ability than Caden Stearns does, but those guys you'll see enough of the time where there might be a questionable angle here or there, and that's just not on Caden Stern's tape. So I like those two things about him. I don't think that he had the same ball production as Richie Grant and Trayvon Moehrig. I don't think that his technique is quite as developed as those players. But again, we're talking about round 3 here at this point. I would say if they don't draft the safety in round 1 and round 2, Caden Sterns would probably be the target if they were looking at drafting a safety in round 2 or in round 3. Mm-hmm. And then there's some guys on day 3 of the draft that I think fit the profile. And Gus Bradley, he drafts a lot of safeties in day 3. Okay. Earl Thomas is the only safety he's ever drafted in round 1, who was a free safety, Derwin James being a strong safety. And then Nazir Adderley, he drafted Nazir Adderley in round 2. All the other safeties that he's ever drafted have been round 3 or later. Okay. And there's a lot of like round 5 guys. So I think there's so many. When I was going through all the DBs that have been drafted on Gus Bradley's defenses, there was so many in round 5. I was like, okay, the Raiders are definitely taking a DB in round 5, like either a nickel or a corner or a safety. Like he drafts safeties in round 5, like DBs in round 5 all the time. It happens all the time in his. So just judging off history, I would bet. I would say would be a solid bet that they're going to take a safety or a DB in round 5. So let's look at a couple names here. Okay, so first off, there's a guy from Pitt named Damar Hamlin. I really like Damar Hamlin. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that I've done some Damar Hamlin breakdowns. He's a player who went to the Senior Bowl. Where I was, and really the reason why I knew about Damar Hamlin is because everyone was talking to me about Paris Ford. And when I watched Pitt defenses, I was like, actually, I like this guy, Damar Hamlin, maybe a little better than Paris Ford even. And he was a very, the technique was very strong. He was a guy who didn't have wasted steps. And you could also see like his instincts were really good out there. He was calling things out. He was a general out there. Like Trayvon Moehrig, and you've heard me talk about this before, Damar Hamlin, Trayvon Moehrig, they played in a similar scheme where they were in a split quarters defense. So covering the middle of the field isn't something that is on Damar Hamlin's tape a lot. And in some instances, when he was in the middle of the field, I noticed a lack of burst. And if this guy ran like a 4.4 flat and he played with that kind of speed on tape, we're talking about, in my opinion, we're talking about easy. We're talking about a top 100 player. But there's a little bit of a speed concern. He ran a 4.59 40, which is within the threshold for safeties who have been drafted to play free safety in Gus Bradley's scheme. So I guess it's not going to be for some teams, it might be what's the word I'm looking for? It might be a disqualifier, a 4.59 as a free safety, but just based off of the things that I've been looking at, he has, Alohi Gilman ran a 4.6, and Gus Bradley drafted him to be a free safety. So yeah. And so I do like Damar Hamlin. I think round 5 or later, we're getting a really good player, maybe just not like super amount of burst and speed, but still a really smart player. So that's a name to keep an eye on. Another guy, a couple other guys that meet the athletic testing thresholds. Marcus Murphy from Mississippi State. At 5'11", 200 pounds, 4'5", 40, 38-inch vert, 121-inch broad jump. He meets most of the requirements or most of the thresholds for a safety in Gus Bradley's scheme. Haven't heard much buzz on him. I would be surprised if he was, a fringe draft pick. We're talking about round 6, round 7 at that point. Another guy, D'Angelo Amos from Virginia. D'Angelo Amos is 6 feet. He's under 200 pounds, but all the other thresholds he meets, a 4.5, 40, 34-inch vert, 120-inch broad. So he's a guy, just looking at history, he's close enough to what Gus Bradley has preferred. in the back end. So those are the three guys that I would say keep your eye on at the end of the draft. If the Raiders haven't addressed the safety position, which hopefully they have, but they might double up. So those are the three names that I would say late day 3, Raiders take a flyer on someone like that just because it meets the thresholds for what typically Gus Bradley has been looking for.
All right, man. Yeah, it's this day of sleepers here, guys. So yeah, we get some more late round sleepers there. Yeah, I haven't been very familiar with the two other safeties you named, but I am familiar with Hamlin just from watching Ford and him or watching Pittsburgh. I've watched Pittsburgh defense like 5 times already, I feel like. So right. Pretty familiar with Hamlin. So I would be excited for that pick day 3. I would. I think he could come in and play pretty well. Definitely and develop into something that maybe they could like later on. But it's gonna be interesting where are they target free safety? Because you're right. Because one, I think there's a lot of safeties in the NFL. Like if you went through the best safety, especially free safeties, so you went through the best free safeties in the NFL. There's not a lot of first round picks. There just isn't. Like Marcus Williams was second round. I'm trying to think of some other like your best free safeties in the NFL. I mean, besides it's just the Minkas every once in a while.
Minkas, right?
Yeah. But Jamal Adams, he's a box safety. But a lot of the times, like the free safeties, I'm talking about the pure free safeties. They don't go first round like you always see.
I would even say this, like with the free safeties, it's tough to like name free safety. Like we don't have Ed Reed in the NFL anymore, right? Like, yeah. Okay, Minkah Fitzpatrick is like the best free safety in the NFL or like top 3, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he probably will be for a while. That's cool. But, you'll have guys like Anthony Harris and it takes time to develop. And then the NFL is like, we're not convinced you're even that good. No one's going to sign you. He's going to take a 1-year, $5 million contract, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's more common to see like, not flash in the pan, but like a shorter shelf life for like really high quality safety play where teams are like, okay, we're going to get high quality deep safety, free safety play from a player for like 3 years for the most part. And then we're just going to move on. We're not going to re-sign Trey Boston, after he gets like 7 picks, like Chargers let him walk, stuff like that, where it's like the best free safeties in the NFL from one year to the next, you'll see drastic changes, right?
Yeah.
So like, I agree a lot. Marcus May, you could say he's a free safety. I mean, he played free safety when Jamal Adams was there, but then when Jamal Adams left, he played a lot more in the box. But he's a 2nd round pick, right?
Yep.
So like 2nd round, 3rd round, I think you're going to see most of these guys who do a really good job in the NFL at the safety position, at the free safety position. You'll see like in that sweet spot, second to 3rd round.
Yeah. Because to be honest, I mean, I'm interested if Morag even slips out of the 1st round. I mean, I think that's still a possibility. I know people are like, "Oh, that's crazy," but I mean, the safety class hasn't looked very highly upon him. He's probably the only guy that's rated in the top 50, not in the top 50, but like in the top 20 for most people's boards, like Daniel Jeremiah and guys like that. He's the only one, right? And safeties are still a little bit of an afterthought. So like somebody might take a tackle over him that might not be as highly rated as him on some people. Somebody might take another corner, right? So there's a possibility that he could fall, right? He could even fall even to 48 just because he is a safety, and that sounds crazy right now, but he still is a safety. And even Xavier McKinney, last year at this point in time, did anybody have Xavier McKinney going 2nd round?
Right.
Look at his tape. His tape was pretty damn good, right? And he fell all the way to 2nd round. Like everybody had him. Some people had him going 11. Some people had the Raiders taking him at 12. And he fell all the way to the 2nd round for the Giants, right? So it's a possibility that Morag, he could be there at 48. And the Raiders, I would be upset if they passed on him at 48. But there's a possibility. I would be very upset. I would definitely, you'd see me on Twitter with a little, like, what are they doing? I might have like 5 tweets about it. I'm sure I'm sure all of us, all the TDL fans and everybody who's listening, I'm sure we would all have a mental breakdown if Trevor Morag fell to 48 and they were just like, let's go somewhere else. Yeah, they take like a receiver or something. Take like De'Ami Brown or something, replace Aguilar. So, you know, like it's a possibility. So you know, it's just if we go into the draft like, and you know, they take a tackle like 17, it's not over that they might get still a halfway decent safety at 48.
Yeah.
So,
and I think Richard Grant has a really interesting profile because his broad jump is so good, right? It's like 80th percentile for the safety position. And usually if you got a great broad jump, right, you're going to have a great 40. You're going to have a great vertical. But his like 40 and his vertical are just like average. You know, they're like 40th percentile, you know, for both of them. It's like, okay, it's still within the realm of possibility. And then he has like a really good 3-cone. It's like 80th percentile 3-cone. It's like under 7 seconds, which is what you want to see. You want to see 3 cones under 7 seconds for DBs, wide receivers, right? And so it's like, okay, he's agile, but then you look at his short shuttle, and his short shuttle is slow. So it's like, wait, you know, like, if you're fast in the 3-cone, you should be fast in the short shuttle. If you have a great broad jump, you know, you should be more explosive in the 40. But yeah, it's really interesting. His athletic profile. The fact that he is also, a lot of people have pointed this out to me. So shout outs. Many people have pointed this out to me. So shout outs if you were one of the people that tweeted this out to me, hit me up in direct message me about this, commented in YouTube. Richie Grant is 24 years old. So he's, you know, that and like having just a solid athletic profile, being 24 years old. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of teams that are just like, he's already peaked. You know, like how much better can the guy get? He's already older than most of the second-year players on our roster, you know, at this point. So, yeah, you're right. I'll give it to you. You won the mock draft. There is a chance Richie Grant is available in round 3 because it's not a bad athletic profile, but it's just like it's kind of weird, you know, and then the fact that he's already 24 years old. So, yeah.
And he's a safety. It's all of it combined.
Right.
And to be honest with Richie Grant, I don't think the NFL is as high on Richie Grant as draft Twitter is and fans are. I'll just say that. Because, like, he's on Daniel Jeremiah's top 50, but he's probably in, like, you know, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some draft guys that are, you know, like with a John Ledyard or one of those guys. He's probably on, like, those guys' top 50, maybe like the Kyle Krabs and those type of dudes from – because I think he's ranked number 66 on Draft Network. So, you know, there's just some guys that some people are going to have him in the top 50, but like, I don't know if the NFL is as high as we are on Richie Grant. So he might be there. I think he's going to be there at 79. That's chance,
the thing about Daniel Jeremiah,
he might not even like him. So,
right, you never know. And the thing about Daniel Jeremiah is like Daniel Jeremiah is not just saying who he likes; he's saying this is what I'm hearing. Right, like that's what Daniel Jeremiah's big board is all about. Yeah. So it's more predictive of where people will be selected than how well they'll do in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Right. So if most cases, if Daniel Jeremiah is saying it, it's a good prediction. It's not a good prediction of like, okay, this guy's not going to be, you know, an all-pro at some point. Or if you like a guy and he's not getting talked about, it's okay that he's not in Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 or whatever it is. But it just means not a lot of people are talking to Daniel Jeremiah about that guy in the NFL because he's tapped in to those circles. So, yeah, good observation. Yeah. Thank you for that. Mm-hmm. All right,
no problem.
So I think that's about it. Got anything else? Did Raiders do anything? Did they sign a nickel yet?
Oh, Colton Miller, bro. Colton Miller extension.
Oh, yeah. Colton Miller extension. We could talk about that. Okay, so Colton Miller.
Colton Miller extension, bro.
One of the highest paid left tackles in football. Before you get up in arms about that, it's important to understand the way that the collective bargaining agreement, the NFL's player union, has come to an agreement with the NFL. Okay. Contracts are supposed to go up. You're supposed to see average players become the highest paid player or one of the highest paid players at their position every year because salaries are just supposed to go up. There's a percentage that they're supposed to go up each year. And within 3 years, Colton Miller will not be a top 10 or even top 15 highest paid tackle in football. It's fine. Don't get your panties in a bunch because Colton Miller got all this money and you don't think he's a top tackle in the NFL. Okay, it's fine. It's not a big deal. Besides, be happy for the guy. He's from Sacramento. I'm from Sacramento, so I'm happy for the guy that he got paid, right?
Back down.
So do you think that this just shows like they are committed to building an offensive line like Colton Miller and then building out from there? Does that make sense?
No, I think it's too full. I think he deserved it. I think he deserved all of it, in my opinion. I think when you get a guy who's developed like a pass blocker like he is, I mean, he's not going to get worse at pass blocking. I mean, so he's only gotten better at it, right? He's gotten stronger. His techniques got better. He's a pretty sure pass blocker, bro. Like he's not like the left side. I mean, can he get beat? Yeah, he's not Tyron Smith. Okay, he's not Tyron Smith, right? But he is a good pass blocking left tackle. And good pass blocking left tackles get paid. Because if they didn't pay him, if they let Colton Miller hit free agency, Colton Miller would have got paid even more.
Yes.
He would have, because he's still big, he's still athletic, and he showed a lot of promise. Okay, he's not made a Pro Bowl or anything like that, but lineman and Pro Bowl. If the Raiders went 14-2, he in the last 2 years he'd be a Pro Bowl.
That's
how linemen are with Pro Bowls. Like you're the winning team. It's like when the Raiders went 12-4, like the whole line made it.
Right.
Pretty sure even Austin Howard even got some votes from the 12-4. But he wasn't on the team. But still, my point is that if the Raiders were better, I'm sure he would have got more votes for being a Pro Bowler type of tackle, because this is how it works.
Yeah.
So he deserved it because he is a good pass blocking tackle. And if you guys are fans of the show, you watch it. I haven't covered Colton Miller that much. I've been pretty quiet on the Colton Miller end because he does his job, bro. Like I guess I can go into like a dig down how good he is and how better he's improved. But he does his job every week, so I'm not worried about that. Could he be a better run blocker? Yeah, he could be, but he's fine there too. It's not like he's god awful. You know what I mean? Like he's just average there, but he's a good pass blocker, and that's all that matters to me. He's a good pass blocker. So I think he deserved all of it. But I do think that they are trying to build the offensive line. You know, they're trying to get some steady guys there. That's why I think they're going to go right tackle. I don't know, even though Tom Cable's scaring me a little bit with his comments.
What do you say?
Brandon Parker.
Oh, Brandon Parker's starting, bro. Brandon Parker is starting.
He's hyping up Brandon Parker, bro. So all I gotta say is he was hyping him up. He's like, Brandon, he's come a long way from where he was. You know, he was dealing with some issues his rookie year, but where he is right now. So, they're hyping up Andre James. They're hyping up Brandon. If they're hyping up Brandon Parker like they're hyping up Andre James, just means there's a chance they might not even draft a tackle at 17. And I just hope you guys are prepared for that, because if you're prepared for Andre James to start,
yeah, right.
I hope he talked just as highly of Brandon Parker as he did Andre James. So, yeah. It's gonna be
at least with Andre James, like Nick Martin he's a guy who started 4 straight years in the NFL. He's only missed like 2 games or something like that in the NFL. Like he's a steady guy. If Andre James doesn't work, right? At least you got Nick Martin waiting in the wings, right? But for right tackle, if Brandon Parker doesn't work, there's no contingency plan here at this point. Like what are they gonna do? So hopefully, they draft a guy just so that it's not all hinged upon Brandon Parker taking that next step. So we'll see. Well,
we're not gonna see any videos hyping up. Okay, Brandon Parker could be the right tackle. We're not gonna see that. All right.
Nice.
Brandon Parker videos.
Nice. It'll happen.
Get some hype, man. Get some love for Brandon Parker.
There's another YouTube channel who will do that. Will do that.
You need some love, Brandon Parker. Somebody do it.
There's another YouTube channel that will do that for sure.
Yeah, especially if they don't draft one. If they don't draft one, somebody in June is going to be like, Brandon Parker is ready to take to start. Especially if they don't take a tackle, somebody's going to flip it. They'll be like, Brandon Parker is ready to go.
Yeah, you're right.
Watch.
Okay, that's all we got, guys. Raider Nation, thanks for tuning in. This is the Tape Don't Lie Raiders Film channel. We try to keep it light, but we also try to, get into the real rap of film study. I hope that you guys like the episode today. Please hit the subscribe button. Yeah. Please follow my guy, Marcus Johnson, at the Mark John NFL on Twitter. Follow myself, BD Williams, at BD Williams 18 on Twitter. And as always, Raider Nation, stay cool.